You know, for a show that's supposed to be scary or suspenseful, most of it is kinda cheery.
Oh, awesome! I got a trick arrow!
Oh, oh, okay, sir.
Wait, did you just now throw up?
I was really hoping we weren't gonna get a lot of that weird happy energy, because the situation at hand is pretty bleak and horrifying, that these heroes and friends are being eaten alive, or worse, they are now rotting corpses trying to sink into your flesh because that's all they can think now. However, they prove that I am still a little naive, because it's not really like that. Most of the time at least. So I was left shrugging at the end of the experience, and hey, since I have all these thoughts, I might as well talk about it, right? Since it's October and Halloween. Because I, in a sense, grew up with Marvel Zombies. Accidentally, of course, when I was a kid because I watched videos like Comic Story reading about it. And I was so into it and fascinated because it was so damn dark and like really gross, and like it got my morbid curiosity of this universe, this dimension, just really interested me for some reason. And it probably didn't help because zombies as a concept I really like too. And then they got to the panel of Spider-Man and Sandman, and I got kinda traumatized from that. The comics are pretty dark, to say the least. Every hero you can think of, your favorites or some you think can survive, did not live. They're all likely zombies or have been eaten to the bone in this universe. And it's crazy to think how this whole universe was revealed in the first place. The Ultimate Universe, you know it, right? Earth 1610, where the Ultimate Spider-Man is from, and where Miles Morales originated. Among them was also Reed Richards, the Maker. However, before he was the Maker, when he was good and normal to a degree, he was in the process of helping another Reed Richards. And at the time, I'm pretty sure people were led to believe that this was Earth 616 Reed Richards. You know, the Prime Reed. However, he was sorely mistaken when he was instead transported to a dark, destroyed mirror of Earth. And the Reed he was talking to was just lying so he can get another version of himself here to eat him and use the portal so they can devour another Earth. So just like that, so many questions, so much to unpack as Reed is told of what happened here as he meets other zombie heroes and villains trying to eat him. So what did happen here? So the guy from Evil Dead, wait, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'll talk about Ash Williams in a second, as I'm going to read Zombie Reed Richards' explanation of what happened, so. They said it all started with a flash in the sky and a ripple through the clouds. Nobody knows what caused this exactly, but some people think it might have been a punch. Was he really that strong? Had infection really made him so determined to get here in search of a brand new food supply? At the time I said no, but having experienced this hunger firsthand, I'm afraid that I now know better. The Avengers were the first on the scene. Can you picture them? Faces grave, concerned for all those human casualties. That idiot, Colonel America, reassuring everyone that everything would be fine now that the superheroes had arrived. What they didn't know is that the infection had targeted superheroes of this dimension and 1,000 realities before us. This was how it consumed, you see. By infecting superheroes just like him and sending them out to infect the others. Within 24 hours, we'd consumed the entire planet. One superhero from an infected universe. That was all it took to finish an entire world. Jesus, if I wasn't a little scaredy cat as a kid. But fuck it got me fascinated, that's for sure. However, some parts that I just read from that little passage is pretty much either retconned, especially the whole infecting other dimensions and realities bit, and the Sentry forcefully coming into this universe is later retconned to be a paradox, so that the virus is contained between two dead universes. And then you have to factor in the Sentry meeting Ash Williams from Evil Dead in Heaven, in which he slaps him away, and maybe that was how they were thinking of how he actually got there to infect everybody. It's all very messy, even though they do try to tie in some things. These books aren't the greatest thing like ever written, and things are bound and still are kind of inconsistent. Kinda like the Sentry, considering he looks, you know, pretty different, don't you think? I want to bring this up real quick because it's pretty interesting, because there's this theory, or maybe it's even true, I don't know. The Sentry was supposed to be Superman. This is Photoshop, by the way, I don't know who did this, but you can tell he kinda resembles Superman a bit. The missing chest logo is very apparent, as it was blown away by Ash from his boomstick, to possibly hide the S symbol. And his hair is shorter and maybe with like a bit of a curl at the end. But then something happened, they couldn't do it, so they recolored and changed Superman into the Sentry. I have no clue if this was what they're actually gonna go for, but I kinda like the idea. It's pretty interesting as I've kinda looked into it on the screen right here, as you can see. With another panel of recolors that somebody did, it's a really interesting theory that I just had to talk about, considering they never name him as a Sentry. It was just as a nondescript superhero. Although the Sentry has been depicted with short hair before, it's not a crazy idea that he never has short hair, and everybody pretty much forgot about his existence at one point, but you get the idea. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, inconsistency in that it's not the greatest thing ever written, even though it was written by Robert Kirkman, who, created Invincible and The Walking Dead. And he wrote it with the hindsight that people probably didn't read the Ultimate Fantastic Four issue where, the Marvel Zombies were introduced. So in the first 5 issues, we were mainly reading about the zombified heroes. And in the first comic, they rip Magneto apart and eat him. Yay. Like, I remember this was always the issue I had with this comic, was that I never wanted to root for these guys at all. I literally just read and watched these guys gore Magneto apart while he can't do anything, because he was exhausted. And yet afterwards, they proceed to take out the Silver Surfer and eat him too. Huh? They gain his powers, by the way, whoever ate him, or whatever, in which Galactus later appears to, devour the Earth. They eat him too. And the ones who did eat him before anyone else gained his cosmic powers to fly into space and then eat the entire universe. Like, they eat everybody. Everybody. I am skipping over some parts, obviously, if you've read it, because those are the good parts that I do want to talk about in a second. I just want you to get the idea that, again, it's not the craziest written thing in the world, it gets so silly and stuff, and the whole story is honestly not worth talking about, on the entirety of what happens or how it ends. What I want to talk about now that, we've brushed aside the dumb stuff that, is present in these comics, is the stuff that I can pick out that I actually like and that engrosses me into this universe. All of it, besides, some of the stupid stuff present in the books, is all so dark and bleak, mixed in with some dark comedy, as these zombified heroes just talk about what's going on, how they hunger, and especially Spider-Man, when he's not hungry, just guilty over eating Mary Jane and Aunt May. It's a little haunting to read and see Spider-Man rushing home to get Mary Jane and Aunt May out of New York, only to see him vomit and then proceed to eat Mary Jane and yelling at Aunt May to lock herself in the bathroom. Then you got a character like Daredevil who, who would never take a life, coming to the realization that he needs to kill these things, and then he's bit as well. Then you have Black Panther and Ant-Man getting away, only for Black Panther to see that Ant-Man's been infected. He was bit in a gnarly spot, and he was hoping T'Challa didn't see that, so he knocks him out, kidnapping T'Challa to someplace secret so that when he's a zombie, he can come back later to satiate his hunger by amputating Black Panther, planning to eat each limb until he's dead. You get the idea. It's all, really fucked up. And not even the kids are safe. As you can tell, they don't shy away from the grossness and violence. I'm sure some of you are obviously aware of zombie Spider-Man shooting his veins out of his wrist to swing around, or him peeling off his own skin. I want to bring up the covers though for these books because they're just so grotesque as well, yet they're very well drawn, as they're done by a man called Arthur Sudam. I don't know how he does it, but he's able to draw these twisted looking characters so good. To cap it off is the writing and dialogue coming from these zombified heroes. In the first issue, after, they've ate Magneto, they're just talking about the situation, how they're dealing with it, and how they still retain their personality. It's just that they've thrown their whole morality out of the way to eat. Especially when you got somebody like Hank Pym who's sawing off Black Panther's leg off, reflecting on himself, and that if he maybe were to find a cure, he'd probably still likely eat people, and it scares him, despite him doing what he's about to do. And it's not all entirely hopeless either, because these zombies, these heroes, as long as they don't eat, they don't need to feed themselves anymore. They can fight it, they can make their hunger fade away. and Spider-Man is somehow written really well. And there's already a video covering zombie Spider-Man, and I'm pretty sure if I talk about him right now, I'll just be repeating what this guy says. But I guess at the end of the day, this thing is just a whole battle of addiction and morality and fighting your urges, I guess. I don't know why I like these books so much. Despite me just pointing out all the stuff I liked before, all of it is also gross and overly dark, but maybe that's why I'm so fascinated by it. From the writing and the horror of it all, that makes me think back on it from time to time. So slap my face and call me a bottom. Because when I saw that they were making a zombies what if episode, I was like, oh wow, they're actually gonna do it. They're actually gonna go for it. I mean, there was no way in hell they were gonna adapt the comic storyline and any of that stuff into the episode or the show later on. And I'm kind of glad they decided to do their own story and thing, because I don't think my heart could take anything from the comics being played out on the screen. What I did hope, however, was that it retained the dark, horror, and violent aspect of these books. It doesn't need to be humorless, but as long as it was dark and gritty, then hey, I'd be down for that. So did the episode accomplish what I was hoping for at the time? Well, to get it out of the way, there's obviously a huge tonal issue within the episode and the show later on. Now, after rewatching this episode after the show, it's not that bad, honestly. I mean, it's present, that's for sure, but this what if episode feels more taken seriously than like the actual Marvel Zombie show, to me at least. To stay on track, the Marvel What If episode is flawed, but not entirely bad. Like, there's some moments of horror and grittiness that when I was watching for the first time, I was a little impressed, you know? However, it's held back by not being able to be as violent as it can be, and the runtime. I've been wanting to say this for a while, but the runtime can kind of ruin the pacing of the whole episode. It depends on the story they want to tell, and if it fits within the time, you know, it starts and ends well, then good job. But man, I feel like they could have told a different story because it feels rushed. Like, we gotta explain the virus and where it came from, then how the Avengers got taken down, then we have to get these characters to this destination without any pause to grieve. We only got 30 minutes, people, we gotta keep it moving, we gotta wrap this episode up. Animation's a bitch. And hey, if we gotta do talking, it better be exposition or something witty and funny, okay?
Splitting up? Do you guys just not have horror movies in Wakanda?
We don't need them. We have American reality shows.
Boom goes the dynamite. That was solid burn on all of us.
The writing, by the way, is also so weird. And another issue.
No, don't eat me. Don't eat me. I'm vegan.
Because you got people somewhat sad or maybe scared. However, most of the time it's just played off, like whatever.
Baba Yaga. The beach.
The most immediate example is when Sharon gets blown to pieces and they just don't care at all.
Guys, I'm covered in Sharon.
That was just your friend who you've been with, like, presumably for like a long while, and that was your response? And nobody else gives a shit? Or when Happy is being pulled away and is going to be eaten, he just goes blam blam.
Happy!
Or how we went from seeing the Avengers being torn apart to cutting to a completely different tone of Peter filming a little silly How to Survive the Apocalypse. Not only is the tone so wishy-washy, there's just things that don't make sense. Do I really have to suspend my disbelief that much to just go along with Tony wearing the nanotech suit of armor? And he gets jumped and infected and doesn't try to fly away or something? He just doesn't get to survive because the writers say so? Or how Thanos, of all people, got turned as well at the end? Or maybe questioning why Vision just decided to off himself instead of waiting a little longer for everybody to get to the Quinjet. Okay, so besides all of that, is there anything at all to glean from this episode? Kinda. There's glimpses of something good here, like that zombie Captain America scene. It felt intense and honestly really cool. I kind of wish they went on a little longer, but you know, from what we got, it was really cool, and we finally saw a zombie, you know, actually tearing somebody apart and eating them. I mean, they really toned it down, but I'll take what I can get. Then we get to Black Panther, and they actually have the balls to bring something from the comics. While it is toned down, it's still a gnarly thought and visual to see T'Challa had his leg amputated off to feed Wanda. Like, I could imagine without all the unnecessary jokes
Whoa, watch out! She's a man-eater! There it is! I'm doing it again!
and the quips, this could have been a dark, suspenseful episode. And it's kinda like that with the ending sequence, and with bits and pieces here and there.
How do you stay so upbeat after everything?
Practice, I guess. My mom, Dad, Uncle Ben, Mr. Stark. Now happy. I've lost a lot. But my Aunt May says, he used to say, that if we don't keep smiling when they can't, then we might as well just be gone too. And well, they'd want us to keep going.
Also, how the fuck did she get bit too? Let's talk about the zombies before we move on. Is that, these are normal zombies. I don't mind that these zombies don't talk. I feel like that would have complicated things for sure. Also, the infection works like in Adventure Time when, the candy people and like Finn and everybody were getting bit. You just like see your skin already turning, or you just immediately turn like green and stuff. And I'm pretty sure they did it, because of time. Because I would have much rather, like, if somebody was bit, they'd have to, like, be scared or terrified that, oh they're gonna turn into a zombie. They're gonna turn. Except for Hope, but, she was scratched, so that doesn't count. And plus, you gotta pay more voice actors if you want these zombies to talk. And we got a budget to handle, okay? The horror should already be from the fact that these characters we know are now dead, rotting corpses, trying to eat people, but they don't really react to that fact. They're just so desensitized. It's not until they're like threatened or it's someone they know in the group and they go, oh man, and that's kind of like the bare minimum.
Sorry, Happy. Blam.
We lost Happy.
No. No, not happy.
But again, I give it the benefit of the doubt because there's not a lot of time. There's only, 30 minutes to go through this episode before we move on to an entirely different scenario in the next episode. So that's why I'm saying it's not that bad because of that fact alone. And maybe, just maybe, if they were able to have a longer runtime, then they could delve deeper into a grittier tone with more violence and time to process. So for what it is, it's just a fun little romp. I was acutely aware that they were making a show about it, and I was kind of excited, especially from the trailer alone and how hectic it seemed. So I was ready for them to get crazy and dark with this show. However, if there's anything I've learned growing up, is to keep your expectations low. And boy howdy, thank God I did that. So all the issues I talked about before have pretty much stayed the exact same, maybe a little worse. I was really getting into it too in the first episode, for about 3 minutes, and then they did this.
1, 2, 3, go!
Again.
1, 2, 3, go!
No.
1, 2, 3, go!
There's no way.
Okay, I get it. We live together.
Seriously. Okay.
Come on, go. 1, 2, 3, go!
Why does this always happen to me?
And I realized that they're gonna do this a lot, aren't they? And I wasn't wrong, like 90% of the time.
Oh, iceberg! Iceberg, iceberg. That doesn't sound good.
I feel like I can buy it in the first episode because, these guys are supposed to be friends in the beginning, even though they really hammer it so much that it becomes a little annoying.
Yeah, there should definitely be more mountain there.
Yeah. I'll alert the park service. Shut up, Kate.
But man, there's just a lot of levity and quipping that really took me out of it, and so I couldn't take this show seriously at most times.
Can someone please?
I just cleaned my rings, so.
Yeah, same here. Wax and everything.
My God, you people are so.
It just really irked me that they went with this despite it now being a graphic and at times gory show. Do we have to say something literally after every interaction?
Whoa, that's how you do that then.
That was gross.
Badass.
Is it just me? Am I the crazy one that thinks not everything has to be like a gag or more levity?
yellow one.
Oh, this yellow one?
No, no, no.
Oh, that one right there.
The other yellow one.
Okay.
So we still have a wishy-washy tone, great. But at times, at the very least, characters have shown more emotion. Sorta. Like when the Red Guardian is mourning with Yelena because his wife and her mom dying.
Mama!
She's gone. She's gone.
But then the Red Guardian mourning Yelena was good. Or when Kamala is angry that Kate died and tries to attack Captain Marvel. I like that. Give me more of that emotion. But like, there wasn't a lot of that. To me, at least. Like when Aquafina's mom is like dead. She's sad, but there's no tears. Nothing. I want to see some grief. Where are the tears? Show me some crying.
Yelena. Yelena.
Maybe I'm just nitpicking, okay? I'll take what I can get, I guess. And even though I'm gonna keep talking even more issues I got, there are good things I liked about this show. Let me just get through my grievances on this. But I'm not gonna be like CinemaSins over here, okay? And nobody wants to be CinemaSins. Besides that, the lazy writing stuck around. That's for sure. They quite literally did the Ultron Vision lazy writing technique, where they immediately wrote off a character for convenience, I guess? Or whatever the fuck. I rolled my eyes at this scene. Like, really? You couldn't have wrote a much better, cooler way for Thor to lose? Could have fit in the budget for Thor to fight Thanos a little longer? Or maybe have a chance to explain Tony getting infected? Still not over that, by the way. At least in the Marvel Zombie comic, I could believe the Hulk bit off the Silver Surfer's head. You know, fuck it, sure, why not? Or when they take down the Galactus, it's because they built this machine from the Baxter building. Among a lot of other wacky shit they got to, you know, build this device. Alright, whatever. There's no explanation for this shit. And it kinda sucks that for the situation to be taken seriously, they need to be in conflict and fighting, it feels like. Sometimes.
It's cracking more, Kamala!
I know!
Still cracking.
Just shut up! I'm trying to concentrate!
I wonder if this is considered dying in battle.
Okay, I think you get it. I think the dialogue is corny and annoying at times, with the feeling that everybody is just kind of going with the motions and being happy-go-lucky, with the insistence of quipping every fucking time, or joking.
Wow. This is so D&D.
I call Paladin.
I call Barbarian.
Oh, no, man. Wizard all day.
So what are the things that I actually do like? Well, for starters, it's definitely violent, and at times, when it actually gets suspenseful and crazy, it works. You know that zombie Captain America scene? I just got a little bit more of it in the Namor scene. That entire time, I was watching with intensity. It was frantic, it was brutal. And somehow the nameless character put in more emotion and terror than anybody else. I was pleasantly surprised that, oh my god, that character was scared for her fucking life and mortified that their friend, presumably, was just dead. Why wasn't that translated into the main cast? I really like her now. Besides the Namor segment, I think the action and violence is pretty cool too. The What If series and this lends itself so well when it comes to action. Seeing Hulk taking care of business or when they're killing zombies in general was just cool to watch. And the whole last episode was kinda sick to watch. And they were like killing off almost everybody in like violent ways too. It was intense. And that's about all I liked from the show. I can't think of much else, sadly. I just put my foot down at times watching this and be like, no, that's stupid, that's dumb, and you can do that too. But I also understand that people can just ignore this stuff too. And if you can do that and enjoy it for what it is, then that's great as well. Because to me, at the very least, this was just another flawed but fun thing to watch, I guess, at the end of the day. To be completely honest with you though, if I wanted to watch a funny, zombie-related media, then I'd watch Shaun of the Dead over this. And if you want a better comic around zombies or an infection, then Deceased I'd say did it consistently from beginning to its end. I like that story a lot more. So yeah, those are my thoughts, and to the 20 people that watched this, let me know what you think. If you want, happy Halloween. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and they also did John Walker dirty, by the way. Spidey, get the fuck out of there quick! Get out!